On August the 15th, 2825, a Vandal clan attacked the Caliban settlement of Fabela. The public believed the subsequent battle was a victory for the UEE due to sensational news coverage, such as the Terra Gazette's headline, "Marine single-handedly stops Vandal attack." When news orgs flocked to the remote, long-forgotten mining settlement, all they showed were shots of smouldering rubble and interviews with residents who were utterly resolute on their plans to rebuild. Meanwhile, government officials appeared on Spectrum crediting their strategic policy shift for the repelled Vandal threat. The Battle of Fabela came at an opportune time for the UEE. Less than a century earlier, millions had fled Orion, Timber and Virgil as the Vandal ruthlessly conquered territory and killed anyone in their way. Following the overthrow of the Messers, Imperator Toy and the Senate turned the military's focus away from silencing political dissidents to increasing defence along the Vandal border. Marine outposts and advanced military equipment soon appeared in cities and settlements across Caliban, Elysium and Vega. These assets aided in the defence of Fabela, but the public version of the story spun around the battle didn't match the facts on the ground. Caught between the public perception and reality was Paul Barlow, the only Marine in his squad to survive. Barlow became a hero and was paraded across the Empire. As the years passed, the Battle of Fabela faded from public consciousness and into legend. When the press tracked down Barlow for a comment following the fall of Caliban in 2884, the Marine's most famous living hero made a stunning confession that he lied about the Battle of Fabela under pressure from superior officers. In an explosive interview in the New United, Barlow described himself as "no damn hero, just a survivor struggling to live in my own shadow." The widely reported official story began with Barlow miraculously surviving the initial Vandal bombing run. He freed himself from under the rubble and raced to an Anvil ballista to send a distress comm. As the Vandal bombers circled for another approach, Barlow used the ballista to destroy several targets. Barlow managed to survive the second assault, so when the remaining Vandal ships returned from a different direction, they met a similar fate. UEE reinforcements arrived shortly thereafter and reported that one Marine defeated an entire Vandal squadron. Embedded reporters quickly spread this version of the story, each eager to have the exclusive account of the events. Following his confession decades later, Barlow worked with journalist Melina Andreou on a book that juxtaposed the official account with his version of events. In A Good Lie, Barlow laid bare the truth that had haunted him for decades. He claimed that the night of the attack began like any other. Most of his squad had been relieved by the third watch and had gathered in the barracks to drink and play Trigger. As the lowest ranking Marine, Barlow was ordered on a beer run. He drunkenly stumbled towards the settlement's small general store when a frightful sound pierced the night sky. Seconds later, Vandal bombers reduced Fabela's spaceport and supporting military infrastructure to rubble. Barlow freed himself from under some wreckage as swirling dust and debris made him cough ferociously. The official story spun this as the moment Barlow realised that only he could save the settlement. In reality, Barlow fled in fear towards the mine, hoping to hide inside until the attack ended. Barlow ran until he entered a small clearing by the mine, where he found Ignacio Asaf, the man Barlow considered the true hero of the Battle of Fabela. A former miner that made a living salvaging old equipment, Asaf had been wounded by shrapnel during the initial Vandal bombing run, but was determined to do everything he could to stop the invaders. He had been formulating a plan when the drunk, dirty and shell-shocked Barlow arrived looking for a place to hide. Asaf calmed down Barlow and convinced him to use his military clearance to access a nearby ballista that had been awaiting maintenance. Stored away from the main depot, it was one of the only pieces of military equipment not destroyed during the attack. The two climbed inside. Barlow jumped in the driver's seat to send a distress comm, while Asaf took the gunner's seat. On the Vandal's next approach, Asaf severely crippled the Void Bomber that had caused most of the devastation. The remaining Vandals split up and changed tactics, staggering their attack from different directions. Asaf fired off shots as fast as possible, downing the other bomber and two scythes before the ballista ran out of missiles. With munitions spent, Barlow hustled the hurt Asaf out of the ballista and towards the mine, certain that the Vandal would destroy it in their next flyby. They were between the ballista and the mine when the sound of approaching ships filled the sky. Barlow believed they were dead, but instead was shocked and relieved to see a Navy squadron intercepting the attackers. That's when reinforcements reported seeing destroyed Vandal ships spread across the battlefield and a Marine waving them down. Sadly, their arrival was too late for Asaf, who had succumbed to the wounds caused by shrapnel. It was only once Barlow had been fully debriefed that his superiors became aware of what occurred. As opposed to issuing a correction to the various news organisations, they decided to have his account match the sensational headlines. The Marines urged him to streamline events and avoid embarrassing details or face a possible court-martial. The young Marine agreed to their plan, believing it to be a good lie and in the best interest of the Empire, a decision that haunted him for the rest of his life. Today, a fog of war exists around the Battle of Fabela. Barlow's revelations briefly stunned the Empire, but never replaced the story ingrained in the public consciousness. The Marines stood by their versions of events and refused to comment on his allegations. An official investigation into his claims never occurred. Meanwhile, Barlow dedicated the rest of his life to helping veterans suffering from PTSD. Asaf's family received all proceeds from his book, which included the following dedication: "Though history may forget you, I never will."
Mummy, I'm going to play Star Citizen when I get home. Well, little Timmy, you can't because hackers stole our house. This is a story I hear only too often. It was just one day before these two were going to get NordVPN. Now they have to live on the streets. Don't let that be you. Get NordVPN in the links below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For August, we are giving away a Mercury Star Runner, the fantastic multi-crew hauler data mission runner, allowing you to do a little bit of everything the Star Citizen has to offer. To be in for a chance of winning that, comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details in the links below. If you'd like to further support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. The join button down below, you'll get some exclusive videos and content each month, and it really does help us keep going. There is also the new thanks button under my videos for another way of throwing money at us. Both me and Zin appreciate all the support for the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the verse.